All right, there we are. Sorry about that, you guys. We are on, man. Praise God for that. All right, all kinds of little doodads you got to get going on over here. And I think we're ready. Hallelujah. One, two, three. Yeah, there we go. All right, nice to be here. And we are on video now, so you guys can go if you like. If you have any questions to ask tonight about anything, we would love to try to answer those things. Um, all right, all right. There we go. All right, welcome, 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 everybody. We're in the place tonight, and let's see what's happening here. We have been telling people different things that have been going on with the Iran situation that involves you personally. And if you haven't been listening to those things, you might. Oh, wrong thing hooked up. All right, so if you haven't heard that information, we may repeat it again tonight a little bit. I know not everybody listens on the same day, so we want to talk about some things that are going on. And one of the reasons that Trump is fighting in Iran, the purpose for that, and we have been talking about how that, the strategy behind uh, Trump and why they're doing what they're doing. Uh, I'm not sure that they've been able to exactly directly tell why they've been going to war with Iran, but I can tell you from a prophetic perspective, which is you know a good one. And so I'm going to share that again tonight a little bit, and then we'll go into other things. So if you haven't heard this, you will be glad you did. I think I'll be right back again. There we go. All right, we're getting it all fixed up and ready to go. The most people in the world haven't known what's really been going on and what has been about to hit their households and their state and their nation, mainly all around the globe. And Sally from UK is a little bit familiar with some of this stuff, but uh, but if you don't live in the UK, you don't really know what's going on. It literally has been hitting them literally. London has been hit really, really hard, and we'll talk more about London later, how it affects you personally. Because the purpose for Trump hitting Iran when they did, because people, have been talking about was Iran really ready to use a nuclear weapon? In other words, did they have it ready in the next week or so? Because you always hear them talk about, yeah, they're going to have one ready in 6 weeks or 6 days or tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you what I really believe about that and what I feel like I know about that. And I'm going to share with you what's really going on. And some of it's going to be very contradictory to what you hear, like they're going to have nuclear weapons ready for tomorrow. I don't think that that's the case, but there is a reason why they're doing it anyway, and I'm going to tell you that, and it is a good reason. So it is to really the what we have been looking at, what we have been talking about here at PGM for a while, has been the China, Russia, back then Iran together, and they're still trying to work together as we speak, um, trying to make their moves on taking over the globe, getting rid of the dollar, and having their own system separate from any other system. If you want to get in their system, you have to bow, to the dictatorial system. You have to take the mark and all that. That's what is really going on right now. They are. actually, uh, you know, because the intelligence agencies know more about what's going on. They've been watching this stuff for a long time, and so what the intelligence agencies know is very hard for everyday people like us. I'm not real everydayish in this realm, but I am in every other way. And what the everyday stuff is that we don't understand, or most of us, I only understand it because I've been involved in it for a while. But there's so much that I don't understand, right? But this one thing I do because I have prophetic words about it. We have information that is now literally coming to pass with Iran regime being taken over. As you can very well see, it's all over the news. We've talked about that for a year and a half. I've been going through, I have at least 8 shows where we talked about it over and over and over again. 8 shows, even a couple of times during each show we talked about it. So each show, about 8 shows, starting back in April of 2024, May, June, July, and on. And so we have talked about this a lot, and maybe not everybody's been able to hear it because you get on at different times. Some people like to get in early, some people get in the middle, some late. So I think a lot of people have missed some of it. However, I'm not sure what you know and what you don't know. So therefore, tonight I'm going to talk about something completely different. I'm going to talk about, I talked about a little bit on Thursday, but what's happening is that the reason Trump is attacking Iran isn't necessarily because they have nuclear weapons ready to go. That's not really the real reason. So if they ask me, I would have to tell them I do not believe that. Will they have some soon? Yes. Is their goal to have those nuclear weapons? Absolutely. They have missiles already that can reach the United States of America. They already have those, and they've been proven because they've shot a few of them in Europe, and so they have even a little bit more than what we thought. But so what's being stopped here by Trump going into Iran and now trying to gather together some of the other nations to stop the Strait of Hormuz from being um, plugged up and unusable. Um, the real reason for all of this, the reason it even began, the reason Israel killed uh, the supreme leader at the time, Ali Khamenei, was because they have had plans for a long time with China and Russia to degrade the dollar, to not use the dollar, because when they quit using the dollar, which they have been not using the dollar uh, as much than they used to, so they have a design, a strategy to quit using the dollar. So eventually, in the long haul, when this strategy of theirs was going to work and work very well, was that they were going to totally separate from the dollar, which would totally do away with the dollar's power completely. This has been their strategy for a long time, as we have talked about many times here on the show. So this is Iran. Now Iran's being taken over, but this is before Iran was being taken over. Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea and the dictatorial states, all working together against the U.S. and Israel because they they want to have their own one world government, just as the Bible talks about, right? Most pre-tribulation preachers will tell you we got one government, one world government, and only one. We only got one system and only one, right? That's what they say. Well, if so, this is the system that we're talking about that they have very strategically been preparing for a long time, many years. They have cell groups all over the world that at the right time, as I talked about Thursday, that which wasn't really ready. They were going to activate it now because they don't really have a nuclear weapon ready yet. I really believe that, and they're trying to say that they do. Israel and the U.S. Of course, when you hear why they're doing it, you'll understand why they're saying what they're saying, which I believe is not true. Do they? Are they? Is Iran going to have a nuclear weapon ready, a bomb, and all that, and all these missiles to reach all over the world? They already have had some done in secret, but they have not had a nuclear weapon yet. So that's really one of their major weapons that they are waiting for. And in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm sure that it will be ready. Right now, it is not ready. In the next 2 or 3 years, if they are unhindered, they would have their nuclear weapon ready along with their other missiles. They've been building missiles like crazy, missiles that go a long ways, which will hit the U.S. and other. They've been working on this strategy for a long time, and the plan is to have a one world government with no chance, as we have now, of Texas and the U.S. having its one world system in a sense of forming together under a freedom and liberty shepherding system, which is completely different from China and Russia and what would have been Iran. So Iran was a big part of this. China, you can look at all this stuff if you want. China had built a train track all the way from Beijing to Iran, and they go through the Kakistan, the stands, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, all the stands. The railroad track goes all the way through there, and it's about, instead of taking about 40 days to get to ship things to Iran, it now takes about 14 days. That is huge, and they've had that for a while. Okay, that one is working. In other words, they can send whatever they want to on railroad track, which is will carry a lot of loads, right into Iran within a 14-day period, which is very fast compared to going by ocean or by sea, which takes about 40 days. You can look at all this up. You'll find out. I could be off a day or something like that, but I doubt it. But you can look it up and see for yourself. So I'm trying to give you an overall strategy of what's why they're doing what they're doing. And even though I don't believe they're saying they're doing it because they want Iran to stop from having a weapon, and that is true. But they do not have one ready, and will not for 2 or 3 years. But here's the thing: if Trump, if when Trump his time is over, his presidency ends, then after that, which we don't know who's going to be president at this point, at least I don't know. It could be some, you know, guy who's a lukewarm, half baked, whatever. And so everything Trump has done to build a system for America it could be compromised. And if that's compromised, and if we get somebody else in there who's going to be president, who's not going to be strong like Trump has been, then when Iran gets their bomb, the president of the United States is not going to do what Trump did, because Trump is now doing it now and taking care of Iran now because of where it's going to be, maybe by the time his presidency ends or would have ended, or after his presidency is over. Whether they have a bomb, a year afterwards, it doesn't really matter. The plan and the long-term strategy is that Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea and others join together and have their system. So with Iran's nuclear weapons and their oil and a lot of other things that they have, they are have a really strong system going on there, a really strong one with Iran. So now that they're taking down Iran, and they will take them down. We have the word of the Lord on that. We gave a word on that. It's all documented, as most of you know, on April. I got all the documentation nailed down to a T. If you want that information, you go back and listen to the shows. Exactly, I have about 8 or 10 shows where I perfected it back in 2024 of describing what was going to happen from Azerbaijan, and why people understand. I'm not hearing much about Azerbaijan. You said Azerbaijan is going to be used to take down Iran, and I'm hearing very little about Azerbaijan in the news. Okay, that's fair enough. And I would like to. I have all the information for you to explain it to you. It's really simple. It's really already been explained. But so what's happening is that their strategy is now being messed with, and that's why Russia and China are freaking out over Iran literally being taken over suddenly. I mean, suddenly, which it needed to be a surprise, and it was on February the 28th of this year. They went in and mostly on this particular part, the ones who actually took out the Iran regime, and about 40 or 50 of their people, took them out in a few minutes. It was amazing how God did it. We had a prophetic word that was going to happen right from 2024 specifically. And all through 2024, from April, May, June, and July, I've gone through July right now of 2024 on every show, going through how many times we said this and made it really clear of what was going to happen, and now it's now happening, literally. So what we're saying is that because Iran was part of that strong, made China and Russia and North Korea and the others strong. Now it is about to be literally being removed, and the success with this is absolutely amazing. Now they're having some problems, and there's going to be the Strait of Hormuz thing going on a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but because listen to this, Iran all this time has had control over the Strait of Hormuz. All this time they could have stopped, and everybody knew that Iran could threaten to do what they're doing with the world economy right now, anytime they wanted to. So that's another reason that they're being taken out is because they control a lot of that oil coming through there, right? Through the Gulf. They control it through the Strait of Hormuz. And so knowing the whole world, especially in countries like America and others that ship oil through there that are not friendly with China so much and Russia and others, they all know that if Iran decided to, anytime they wanted to, they could stop that thing up anytime for no reason or for many reasons, stop it up, and the economies would just like, so that's another reason that Trump is going in there wiping out Iran. Not because he's in a bad mood or because he feels like going to war. Not only is this a prophetic word that was given over a year and a half ago or so, but it is also the strategy that I'm telling you that they have been planning on taking over the world, the best that they could, and trying to take down the dollar. Because once China and Russia and would have been Iran and all those other countries, pretty big countries, use a lot of the dollar, have used a lot of the dollar, are going to stop using the dollar at all because they're going to totally separate from the U.S. in every way, including the U.S. dollar. And so therefore, there will be no use of the U.S. dollar with China, Russia, and all those countries. None. There would have been none. And so that would have weakened the dollar. That was part of their strategy. They would have, at the same time, weakening the dollar and separate from the dollar, which would totally weaken the U.S. Right? Then they would have, cut the Strait of Hormuz off, and that plus that would have been disaster. You understand? That's why this is going on. People do not understand that this is why this is happening. It's not just we don't want war. It's not about that. It's about the future war. That's not even going to be a war. They've got it fixed to where they're going to have all their sleeper cells awake one day, which would be a few years down the road. It's still a few years down the road because Iran still had to get its nuclear program going on, and Israel kept messing with it, and now the U.S. is messing with it because once they get their nuclear thing plus all their missiles built and ready to reach more than just Israel, but to reach the globe, most of the globe, that they just wake up one day and they start getting their sleeper cells all over the world to start, taking out, electrical supplies wherever they are and whatever things they take out. They just gonna wake up one day, take them all out, boom, 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 boom. Then they're gonna start to shut the Strait of Hormuz off, just like that. Another financial disaster happening. And they're gonna do a lot of things not gonna be easily repairable. Like you could redo the electrical grids, that could be redone and blah blah blah. But so there's so much here I want to talk about. Hopefully I can get it out where it makes sense. There is so much happening with this. So they have plans of doing destructive work that cannot be repaired quickly to all countries, not just the U.S., but all countries. Going to wake up one day, they got it all set up and planned and organized. Okay, go do it now, and they blow them out. Take care of whatever they're going to take care of. Take out electrical grids, take out gas and everything that we live off of every day. And so people are going to really be suffering. They have a strategy, I'm sure, to do it in the wintertime. I don't know for sure what the strategy is. But so what Trump is doing right now with them in Israel and hopefully other nations are going in there and stopping this planned strategy that's going to be activated in maybe 2 or 3, 4 years, where one day we wake up and we're under Iran and we're under China and we're under Russia, just like that. Because you talk about an invasion. Yeah, they have an invasion in plan, but it's not what people think it is. It's not the kind of invasion that people think. So they think an invasion like, oh, like somebody asked me last week, do I think that the U.S. will be invaded? Invasions can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. So, but overall, I knew kind of what they were asking me. So I said no, no, because what's happening right now is the U.S. and Israel are stopping that. They're taking down Iran for the very purpose of stopping that strategy from those cells that mostly belong. Many of them belong to Iran. Iran has the strategy of terrorists around the globe. That's China has their thing that they do. Russia has their thing to do. You know, all the other countries that are dictatorial have the things that they specialize in. They're going to gather together and hit us all like in what can a nation change in one day? Can a nation be overcome in one day? Yes, especially these days. We can wake up and all electricity, all our gas, everything is shut off with the threat of we're not turning this back on until you sell us your soul or sell us your country or whatever you sell. Sell everything to us and we're going to own you. And so that's been their plan, and they think it's a good one. So that's why this is important that Trump and Israel do this. So please pray for them. Do not get into the dictatorial because a lot of the dictatorial people are passing out a lot of false information, making it look like Trump is just a warmonger. Israel's just wait. No, they're taking care of a problem of a takeover of the globe, which has been planned for a long time by these guys. Right? That's not a new thing. It's an old thing. And every intelligence agency knows the plan overall. Every intelligence agency knows, including China's intelligence agencies and the U.S., Iran's intelligence agencies, and whatever you want to call them, Russia's. Believe me, they all know where all this is going, but they don't tell us, of course, because we probably wouldn't believe it anyway. But because it's a secret, right? And they're developing and working it right under our noses while we sleep. The wheat and the tares, you planted good seed, right? Yeah, but while you slept, the enemy sowed bad seed. That's what has been going on. So now, thank God, I didn't talk about this before because I didn't want to scare people, and freak them out. Because now that Israel and U.S. has gone in and pretty much taken down Iran, there's still a lot of work to do, but they've done they've stripped them pretty good. Now they're going in for the final blows. And yeah, is there going to be some hiccups? Absolutely. Is there going to be some delays? Yes. But overall, they are going to win. I know they're going to win because the Lord showed me they're going to win, right? Because He showed me that they were going to win. And so this is what's happening. This is why this is taking place. This is not just some unnecessary war that poor Iran really doesn't have a nuclear weapon, which they really don't, not yet. They've been working on getting one because their purpose is taking over the world with China and Russia and the other ones. You understand that? That's what's being stopped, friend. This is not just some game being played to see if we can take over another nation. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with every nation, China, Russia, and our nations are what I'm calling the shepherds nations are knowing that we're going to have to take what we have and take control of it. That's why they took control of Venezuela. Wasn't just because Trump was in the mood to take over something. All those nations, those are going to belong to our new nation that we're going to have, our global nations. The nations that are around the globe that we're going to have with our system that's going to be them. So we take them, or Russia and China takes it. Who's going to take what? And that's the big question of what is going on, and who's going to take what. What's China, Russia, and North Korea, and now no longer Iran going to take? What countries are they going to take? What countries do they have plans on taking? What countries do they have communism in that they're going broke? Now that Venezuela doesn't put out oil anymore for Cuba and others, they're going to be going broke. So they're going to be looking for someone to come in and save them. Well, that's what we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years, is that's what this new system is going to do. It's to be a shepherding system where we go in, we take down the bad guys in Venezuela, take down the bad guys in Cuba. Hopefully, I don't know if we're going to take down Cuba. I don't know all the other nations we're going to take down. I don't know that. I'm just saying what's already been happening. But Iran is the only one that I knew about because they were the big dog. They were the big snake. They were the ones who the ones that China and Russia are going like, oh, we can't lose them. Exactly. And they've already lost them basically. and they're trying to help, but it's just not going to work because we moved first. We moved first, right? Yeah, it's not greed, not a, uh, okay. So you have to get over that. I'm not, uh, trying to pump up Trump or Israel or anybody else. I'm just telling you the prophetic words of the Lord that we have had here on the show specifically tell you that everything that's going on in the news right now is what we have prophesied about. And if you're reading the right, you got to listen to the right news, because Israel and the U.S. are romping up on Iran. Thank God that they caught them by surprise, and now it's just a matter of finishing it off. So pray for Trump, pray for the U.S. People are mad at the United States, but they don't understand. They don't understand what's going on. Oh, we don't like the United States because the United States is like, whatever. They're just a bunch of bullies. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. They're ignorant. They don't know. They've been lied to a long time. They have believed those lies because they're very good lies told by powerful people. Trump and Israel. And so they're trying to turn you against your own country, who's going and trying to save our country from being under China and Iran and Russia. That's what's being done right now, friend. It's not what they're saying. They're lying like a bunch of dogs. They're liars, outright, deliberate liars. Now, if they were deceived, that's different. They're outright, deliberate, willful liars. Therefore, they will. Anyway, what's happening is all those two systems are being separated out. You're going to have China, Russia, the dictatorial system, with no longer Iran. We're going to have Iran on our side with Israel. Now that's all going to turn later, but this is where it's at right now. Okay, so if you listen to the show long, you know what's going to happen once they get peace. They're going to build the temple. Nathaniel Rothschild is going to come in and be the shepherd. He's going to run the country, run Israel. They will change from democracy to theocracy, or whatever you call that, where a king takes over, a kingship, and then things are going to, and then once he gets in there and gets a little bit into it and believing in himself, he's going to say he's God, which is First Thessalonians talks about. He's going to call himself God, and the Jews are going to go, you can't call yourself God. We didn't let Jesus do that, and you sure ain't going to do it, boy. So they will turn against him. They'll probably kill him or try to kill him. I often thought they would probably kill him and he would be resurrected by the devil. I don't know. I don't have a word specifically. The only reason I believe that is because I had a dream vision about all this, very, very specific dream vision that he was in a casket. Rothschild was in a casket, and the casket lid was opening up. And I was in a dream watching it and knew that I didn't see his face in there. I didn't see him in there, but the lid just began to lift up when all of a sudden I'm on the other side of the casket swinging this huge sword. So it's really, really amazing what's happening. And if you don't get an insight, friend, on what's really happening, it's going to mess with you. You're going to be deceived. This is the big deception. The big deception is all the United States and Israel trying to do is just be a bunch of bullies and take over some poor, innocent, people who are just trying to run their country and be religious. It's all a bunch of lies. They're a bunch of murdering thieves who have brought their country to the brink of disaster. And of course, yes, Mossad and Israel and other CIA probably have helped them finish off. But they see, once you see that they're not going to change, then you have to go in and you have to take over. And so they have murdered. They've done a lot of things. And so is the CIA and Mossad, mainly Mossad, working behind the scenes to help Iran go down? Yes, no question about it. But if you don't like it, you go move to Iran. Well, Iran's fixing to change. You can't go to Iran there because you'll be a free, happy place there. But anyway, pre-Iran change, go back and go picture yourself living under that. You have to be a Muslim whether you like it or not. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim or not a Muslim. You're going to be a Muslim, dress like a Muslim, act like a Muslim, or else. You want that? It was coming your way, baby. It was coming your way. And within, I don't have an exact date, but within 2 to 3 years, it was coming your way where we wake up one day and the strategy that they all have worked together, China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, no longer Iran anymore, but they all had this little plan or they're going to rise up all the sleeping cells, and and cause chaos within each nation. They don't really have to kill a bunch of people. They just can take away your electricity and your gas and some of your money, and you'll be crying and do away with the Strait of Hormuz at the right time. So you can see that what Iran has done with the Strait of Hormuz to cause a financial problem. They can do that anytime they want. They're not doing it because all of a sudden, oh, we can do that. No, they've known they can do it. Everybody knows they could have done this a long time ago. So their strategy was to cells awaken all over the globe, attack different things. You don't have to really kill a lot of people. Just take out their money, take out their gas, take out their electricity, and you got them. And that's what their plan was, friend. You understand what I'm saying? That's it. So now that we're winning, now that we're on top of this, I unveiled it Thursday, but I'm unveiling it again just to kind of some of you maybe you didn't get it right. I do repeat things a lot around here because I'm not sure who listens to what when and what you know, what you don't know. So I just do it out of the grace of God to help you maybe hear it again and understand what is really happening so you can be on the right side. At least have the right information. Then if you want to be on their side, you want to go with China and Iran and Russia and all those guys, then go on, man. Because that's what they were going to do. They were going to do that to America. And if you like that, then you're going to enjoy that. If you don't like that, if you like your freedom, then you're going to be, you should be going, oh my God, thank you, Jesus, for them doing this. Because they're stopping a future disastrous takeover of the globe, literally. And they'll tell you, no, we don't want that. They want it. They talk like they want it all the time. Yeah. So we have to get used to that, understand that, and not listen to the lies that have been trying to come about through their strategy of trying to get people to fight and rise up in their own nation and stop them from taking them down, and so they can fulfill their plan of taking you over. That's what they're doing, and they're so good at lying, man. It's amazing. Literally is amazing. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about that? I know I talked about that Thursday. Maybe you had a little time to think about it if you listened to that last week. I only unveiled the strategy that was to be because, um, we have now got a stranglehold on Iran. Are they fighting? Yeah, they're really good fighters, and they're going to do a really good job of fighting back. But the thing is, because we moved first and quickly and took out their leadership and are continuing to take out their leadership and a lot more, that the Iranian people are now taking over. You got to listen to this. This is important. The Iranian people are now taking over cities here and cities there. Okay, thank you, Anya. Randy, I understand what you're saying. Thank you. All right, so yeah, so that's why I'm just now telling you as of Thursday, because I didn't want to scare people. I mean, some people are going to believe it anyway. Some people, if the CIA and the FBI and the Mossad stood right there along with Jesus and told you that, most of you would not believe it, right? I know some of you would, but most of you would be going, yeah, it's just a conspiracy theory. No, it's a real plan. And they've been working on it for many, many years, and it's a very well developed plan. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat all that again, except maybe on another show. I might do it on another show because I want to make sure that this information gets out. Plus, I'm working with the algorithms too of getting the information, this specific information out in the algorithm system so it can work and do some things. Because it's just what I do. So it's my job. I got a job, man. Yeah, I got a job. So there you go. If you have any questions about anything, maybe you believe this, all of it. Maybe you don't believe any of it. Maybe you believe part of it. Maybe you're just trying to figure it out. I don't know. Either way, you're fine. But just know that I'm telling you some things that I know. Just like I knew that Iran was going to be taken over, and the Azerbaijan thing. If you don't understand people are saying, "Well, I haven't seen anything about Azerbaijan in the news." Yeah, about them taking over Iran through Azerbaijan. Right. I know that, and there's a reason for that. Because the strategies that they've been using in the past years have been through Azerbaijan to take down Iran. They've used the Caspian Sea, which you may be hearing some about right now. The Caspian Sea is where part of where Azerbaijan is. They have oil that comes out of the Caspian Sea. The Mossad has used the Caspian Sea and coming through, the Azerbaijan area. Uh, they've been working this thing for many years of taking down Iran through Azerbaijan. Now, it's not the only one. Of course, it's not the only country, but the reason that they use Azerbaijan is because number one, Azerbaijan is very friendly with Israel, and we've talked about that before. I don't know if you heard the show or not, but it's a documented fact. I was researching all this stuff back in 2007, 2008, maybe 2006, somewhere there, a lot, and that's when God showed me the takeover of Iran through Azerbaijan. And it's not the only place it's being taken over, but it's the one God showed me, and it's a major point because, like I said, Israel and Azerbaijan, which neighbors Iran, borders Iran, is very, very friendly, and they trade security. Israel helps them with their military, and Israel's military capabilities are amazing. All of their things that they use, their capabilities are amazing. And they have a lot of amazing ideas about warfare, and they're very good at it. So, some of the best in the world, actually, maybe the best in the world. But they have been extremely friendly with Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan's right. Look it up on the map. Just do a map of Iran and Azerbaijan. You'll see what I'm talking about. And the Caspian Sea, you'll see it right there. So Mossad used the Caspian Sea to pass a lot of stuff through the ships and the boats, and I've seen detail. I've seen details on this. So it's it's really, really is amazing. Uh, okay, Shannon's just now hearing about the rumors of Netanyahu being dead. Netanyahu is not dead. He's had appearances. He's had appearances. Thank you for bringing that up. Uh, no, he's had appearances. They debunked that rumor several times. He's shown up in several places. He's not dead yet. You might want to pray for him, but no, he's not dead yet. So keep your prayers up for Netanyahu. It's a very big job going on, y'all. This is a really big thing happening, and most people don't have a clue that the real reason is because China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea and others have this long, uh, this high level plan that they've been planning, strategizing for years, years and years. These people, just like the Mossad, they go in there within Iran, and they work on getting prepared for this very day for many, many, many years, many years. It's a really, it's a it's a whole different world, man. And it's kind of exciting when I finally saw that they were actually making a move. You just have to understand. I've been working with this for a long time, and I get started giving words about it, like I said, in 2024, uh, April, May 2024. I got all that documented. I got April, May, June, July, and I'm in July right now, and I've got like 8 or 10 shows where I mentioned the details of this and got more precise with the information as I went along because I began to understand that he was showing me what he showed me many years before that, right? What was going to happen. Anya says, yes, it is a big operation. Yeah, it really is. And, they Iran is someone you don't want to contend with unless you're ready. You don't want to contend with them. They are some tough people. They have, like I said, their sleeper cell thing. The FBI has been kind of digging into that a little bit. A lot of it's going to come out into the open. But here's the thing that we have stopped it, the big one from happening. I'm not saying there's going to be some little things happening here and there. We have stopped the invasion of Iran or Tehran and Russia and other things before it could happen. That's what we've done. Because people have asked me right here on the show. I think Nikki from Florida said, "Do I think there's going to be an invasion?" Well, they've been invading us for a long time, but it's been through as we slept. They planted a lot of their cell groups among us, and they're very well strategized. Probably a lot of them work within the companies that they're going to be blown up or planned on blowing up our electrical grids and other things. And things are not so easy to rebuild because when they do the damage, they're going to do the damage in a way that could be rebuilt very soon, right? Because they have to be able to let people know you're not going to be able to rebuild this for a few years. That's their strategy. So if they can rebuild in a year, they can hang on, right? So they got it all worked out, and they got people all over the place. But once Iran is taken out, and these guys don't have any money or backing to cover them, and any intelligence helping them, there may be a few crazy ones that try to do some stuff, but overall, it's being stopped right now, literally, physically. So, uh, no, Shannon's, as I said earlier, Shannon's talking about Netanyahu being dead, is alive, and made any. Is he alive? Yes, he's made several appearances. He knows those rumors, but one thing he has to do too, he has to be careful also, because what they do is they spread these rumors about him being dead, and they get him to make appearances so they can, get their intelligence agencies to figure out where he's at. You see what I'm saying? It's all a big intelligence agency strategy to spread rumors, and then they get people moving around like Trump does. Trump will spread rumors. He'll get Iran running here, running there, and then they'll watch them and see what they have. It's great. It's going to make a great movie someday. I'd like to see the real version in heaven, actually, if it come down to earth. I mean, I don't want to. I don't. I want to go to heaven, but heaven's coming down anyway. So, either way, it's going to be good. But I would love to see the video on this thing. It's amazing. But he's not dead. No, he's made appearances. But like I said, it's a strategy. Benjamin Netanyahu or whoever, Trump has been killed, and so they'll get him to make appearances, and then they'll be watching him, and then they move in and try to take him out. So they have to be really careful about how because they know this is strategy because they use the same strategy themselves. Netanyahu uses it. All of them use it. It's a among the intelligence agencies. They all know about all these little strategies that are used, right? But sometimes if the pressure is enough, they will make appearances because they know that they're, what's going on in the news and the social media is important. They're not gonna be able to stop it all, but they'll do enough to. I'm still alive. Trust me, here I am. They'll do stuff to do that. So yeah, he's made some appearances, and it's all strategy, man. It's all strategy. It's a really good one. I wish we could talk one of these nights, and I've done this before on the show. Maybe you didn't listen, or maybe you weren't able to be on. But I've talked about a lot of the strategies right here on the show before. So if you missed that, sorry, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I have personally dealt with some of the strategies. They use a lot of intimidation to, try to get you to uh, do things. Like with Jesus, they would say, if you look at all the times the ways they tried to set up Jesus, like one of my favorite ones is, which they've used on me, is it's so much fun, man. Jesus was so they would try to kill him, right? They were always trying to kill him, and everybody knew they were trying to kill him. But a couple of times Jesus would say, "I know you're trying to kill me, but and then they would say, "Oh, oh, Jesus, who's trying to kill you? Are you just paranoid?" Yeah, have you seen those scriptures? Yeah, it's all strategy, man. It's really interesting. Who's everybody they're trying to kill him, but they'll still go. When Jesus mentioned it, if you dare mention that they're watching you, oh, who's watching you, Randy? Who would watch you? You're just a ordinary little boy over there in Texas. You ain't got much going on. Why would they watch you? It's a really, really, uh, and all these strategies, y'all, are in the Bible. Believe it or not, it's nothing new. Where do you think these guys got these strategies from? It's from the Bible. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So if you need some good strategy and you're a good, honest, God fearing person, just go to the Bible and you'll find some of the best strategies in the world of how to handle people and stuff. I mean, I got rumors going around about me right now in the blog talk realm of, uh, some things with things they said I said and I did, and I never did them or said them. And it's getting out. And so we're about to bust that pretty soon. But I have a strategy going on. But it's a strategy. The devil gives somebody a strategy and they start, lying outright, deliberately and willfully lying, and maybe use a little bit of truth about stuff. Oh, he said this, he said that. Yeah, he did, blah, blah, blah. I can't get into the talk, but we've got that busted now, so we're going to deal with it here, and it's going to be a little shocking for those, not for y'all, but for the people that are within PGN that are doing some of these things. because when people get desperate, they do desperate things, and so we try to be patient and understand, that when people freak out, uh, when people are fear based anyway, and things start going crazy, they start freaking out. They do crazy things, so we give them a chance to learn and grow from it. And if they don't learn and grow, then they get anyway. It goes to the next level. That's all I'm going to say. In this particular situation, this is not the first time that this has been done. So we gather all the evidence, and hopefully they will, you know, break the fear off and move on and change. But if they don't, you know, uh, it's just we just deal with it, But we give it every chance. You have to give it every chance. It's like Trump, kind of in a sense, was giving Iran every chance to, quit growing their nuclear sites, and their nuclear bomb agendas, and they were growing them, and they never stopped. But I don't really think that they really had enough to do anything soon. But the thing is, by the time Trump is out of office, and Trump is the only one that can deal with it. Did y'all miss that part of the show? The reason Trump's dealing with this now, even though they really don't have anything that fearful. Uh, I've always had a target. I've had my target. I've talked about this for a long time. I've had a target in my back for a long time. Yeah, I've had a target in my back for a long time. Ever since I went to Romania and did the thing where we made it public that God was not happy with the president of Romania, and then 7 days later they were impeaching him, and they, of course, had testimonies of I was the one who started that. I became a target right then, a literal target at that time, and that was back in 19. Oh man, I mean 2000, 2006, I believe, 2006, somewhere in there, 2007. So I've been a target since 2007 for sure. We all have spiritual targets on us for one reason or another, but I've had a physical, literal target on me. I've talked about this many times on the show. Maybe you missed some of that, but yeah, it's nothing new. I have secret information. When I give information about Iran fixing to be taken over through Azerbaijan, specifically Azerbaijan, and then when the helicopter went down with the president of Iran in it, 34 days later, they all knew Chandler knows something, and so the intelligence agencies know this. Most people like yourselves, you don't know this stuff. You just kind of trying to make a living, live your life, and it's good. But people like me who deal with these things, um, when we talk about this stuff, most people just think you're crazy when you talk about it. But I talk about it anyway because I don't really care what they think, and I have gotten documented proof on some of it. So, and they know that I have documented proof on some of their stuff. So they've kind of, I would say, they haven't backed off. They have changed their strategies. So it's been interesting to say the least. But yeah, they don't hate me. They don't want to kill me yet. They just want to find out, where I get my information and how I get my information, so to speak. Uh, and they're hoping I'll get on their side. That's really what they want. I know it sounds crazy, but when you look into the spy world, you see that goes on all the time. I mean, it's just kind of common knowledge in the spy world. And I'm not a spy. I'm a spy for the Lord because He shows me things. Uh, he shows me things that that are secret, high level secret information. And like I told you all the night that I released the information on May the 20th, about telling you who's responsible for the the Iranian president going down in a helicopter, saying that it was Mossad or Israel, their intelligence agencies. I told you I might get in trouble over that, and they did come, and I documented this. They did come, and or I did come together with them in a public place, and They were a little frustrated. They are a little bit frustrated with me, but they are not trying to kill me or anything like that. Uh, so they just want to. They threaten you and make you feel like we can get anything we want anytime we want to. And I'm going like, well, just try it. Just try to do anything you want anytime you want. I mean, here I am. I mean, literally, I've already talked. They already know all this stuff. and I, I've got documented evidence on some of it, very little of it, but enough to prove it. Uh, you know, the target on my back. So it's not something new; it's something old. But hang on a second here, be right back. Yeah. So we've talked about all that before several times. I've been talking about it over the years actually, but it's kind of hard to believe. Uh, so I'm not sure who all believes it. Doesn't not that it matters that much, but we just keep on going on. And right now, if you have kept up with, like I said, I started going back through shows from April 2024, May, June, and July. I'm in July right now, going through every show, and every time I said something about what's happening right now, uh, I've had 8 shows, I believe 8 shows that have it said sometimes 2 or 3 times during the show about what's going on. So, you know, I know I've said it 10 to 20 times at least that, and I'm only in July. So I'm going through documenting all of it. I'm getting the exact thing that was said, so that we can so that we can document this whole thing. That well, I'm not just making this stuff up. Uh, okay, Anya says, Randy, is the Lord saying or showing you anything about Canada? No, no, not specifically. I have nothing about Canada. Uh, some people make it things about what God gives me for the most part are the nations that are the biggest troublemakers. Like Iran is the head of the snake. Canada, yeah, it's uh, Venezuela, yeah, you know, uh, Cuba, yeah, those are but Iran. The reason God showed me Iran because He always shows me the big target. You're talking about targets. Iran is the biggest target of all because because of their strategy and their love for killing and dying. They love dying, or they say they do at least, and they don't love life; they love dying, and they'll tell you that to get their that's how they get their honor. So Canada is a smaller is Canada is important. All of these countries are important. All these countries and these states around the globe are important to God. But does God show me everyone? No, He shows me the head of the snake, and He shows me the root. Because once you deal with the head of the snake, or you chop the root of the tree, Canada, Venezuela, all the sleeping cell groups across the globe, including the United States and Texas, they just start drying up because they have no more support, and that's why that Iran is the one that they're going after, and that's the reason the Lord showed me Iran was because Iran has tentacles everywhere. When Canada, yeah, a little bit, but you know, all these other countries, Venezuela, a little bit, yeah. Not that they're not important, they are. But we go for the big one. We lay the axe to the root of the tree, and we take it out, and then all the other things weaken substantially, if not completely go away. Then, of course, they will all join together, but they're going to have to separate out from the U.S. and Texas and the countries that we are gathering together that will be our friends. And that's why you're seeing Trump go after certain countries. It's not because he's country hungry to have another country to have under him. It's because those countries belong to us, in a sense, under our jurisdiction, as far as you know, to be part of our system, to be part of our system, like an octopus. Yeah, they call them the octopus. Yeah, that's one of the things they call Iran is the octopus. Exactly, that's exactly right. And Tehran or Iran is the head of the octopus. And there's more than that. China is another one, uh, and Russia, but Tehran and Iran has specifically targeted Israel and the United States, but other countries too. And it's planned to take over They all have. China has different ways of getting into every country. Uh, you know, Russia has ways of getting into itself into other countries. Like it's trying to take uh, Ukraine. That's one of the things it's trying to. Because it produces a lot of wealth. So everything that produces wealth, food, oil, whatever, it's if you know, especially if it already does belong to them. Which I don't know. I don't think Ukraine belongs to them, but they think it does. So uh, so everybody's trying to get their countries. We're going to have two sides, two systems: China, Russia, and now no more Iran, and the U.S., Texas, and the countries that are going to be on our side. Hopefully, Venezuela and Cuba and others will be part of our nations that we have under us, right? With the Texas uh, system that's bringing us, that will protect us when the dollar, because we know the dollar's going to crash for sure, because once all the big nations like China, Russia, uh, you know, Korea, North Korea, and the other ones totally don't use the dollar anymore, and they use their own system, they know what that's going to do to our dollar. And that's what's happening right now, too. That's what Trump is stopping. Trump is stopping, and Israel is stopping that from happening so that, uh, you know, it's going to be a lot harder for them to do their thing right now. They're slowing the takeover down by taking out Iran. They're stopping it in a lot of ways, and they're slowing it and slowing China and Russia down, because China and Russia were heavily dependent on Iran to be a major part of their collaboration and their unity and the power of their what each nation had to offer. Tehran was very good at terrorism. Russia's good at military. Uh, you know, uh, North Korea, they're very good with uh, bombs and stuff like that, nuclear. China is very financial, and they have a very good system going on. They've been working great, so all that works together, and then so they put their stuff together to take over us, and that was their plan, mainly to uh, totally do away with the dollar by taking all the countries that they love and they are connected to out from underneath the dollar completely. Right now, they're out from underneath it a little bit, which hurt us. But then they're fixing, their plan is to one day wake up and boom, the dollar not being used by any of those anymore at all. Not even a penny of it. Boom, what's that going to do to the dollar? Boom. So what's Trump doing? Trump knows that. The U.S. knows that. Texas knows that. Israel knows that. They all know. We just don't know it. I say we. I know it because God showed me. That's the reason I know it. Because God shows me, and so I'm telling y'all, so you'll know, right? So we can pray about that. Try to ask God to show you if what I'm telling you is true. I think you're going to see the evidence of it all. Number one, because we gave the word about Iran being taken down through Azerbaijan, meaning that Azerbaijan was the signal point of where that triggered this whole thing that's going on right now. You can see it. 2024. We said that uh, Iran would be taken down through Azerbaijan. They would attack the nuclear sites. I saw it like an earthquake. That's before any of this happened, right? Before any of it happened. And then we went in, we took out the nuclear site, which said to Iran, after we had already taken over their ability to fight back. So they flew over there, didn't have one shot fired on any airplane, took out the nuclear sites. Trump did the earthquake bomb one, which fulfilled my dream. And then that was them saying, okay, we're coming after you. So May the 20th, when we gave the word in 2024, what we were saying is the trigger is going to happen in 34 days, which we didn't know was going to happen. But in Azerbaijan, the helicopter went down on Iran's side, but the name of the place it went down was, believe it or not, look it up for yourself, the Eastern Azerbaijan. That's the name of the place in Iran. Now Azerbaijan's right on the other side, the country, but they have a place right there where the helicopter actually went down, which we said we didn't know the helicopter was going to go down, but we did say Iran was going to go down through Azerbaijan. And it just so happened that they were just at Azerbaijan dedicating the dam. The you can look all this stuff up yourself, but the I think the mayor from Azerbaijan was there, and then the president of Iran was there, and they were dedicating it. They were at Azerbaijan, the border. They dedicated that dam, and then they flew back 3 helicopters, and the only one that went down was the one with the president of Iran in it, and he went down in Azerbaijan on the Iranian side. But it's called look it up for yourself, East Azerbaijan. It's just mind-boggling when you think about it. We gave that word 33, 34 days beforehand, not particularly about a helicopter, but about Iran regime going down in Azerbaijan. And I never had a clue it meant the Iranian side called Azerbaijan. I didn't even think about that. That was all new to me, but it's just the way it happened. So it's really amazing. So that was the trigger point. The reason that we said Azerbaijan, the Irish can go through going to go down through Azerbaijan, is because of that very event, which we came on the show and we said I used the word the door has opened in the actual comments that I made on the show. I got it all right here on my computer. And also I used the word trigger. It was the trigger that triggered all of the downfall of which is happening now of Iran being taken over. And it just happened to happen through Azerbaijan. The helicopter went down with the Iran regime in Azerbaijan, East Azerbaijan. Google that. You're not going to believe it. So please Google it. If you don't take my word for it, please look at it. It's going to blow your mind. And that's how we were saying that Azerbaijan was involved, was through that. And that's not the only way they're involved. They've been involved for many, many, many years of Mossad coming through the Caspian Sea, Caspian Sea is connected to Iran and Azerbaijan and other countries. It's kind of surrounded by other countries, Pakistan and other. So, I've got the evidence of all this, right, through different sources. After I started doing research on it, I found it all. And so they talk about how they did it. It's amazing how Mossad used Azerbaijan and mainly the waterways of the Caspian Sea, which is connected to Azerbaijan. Where Azerbaijan gets their oil. Yeah, they supply oil to Israel. They supply oil to a lot of people. Anyway, so that's a long story, but so I hope that makes sense. But Azerbaijan has been being used. It cannot. Here's the thing I want to say: Azerbaijan cannot admit yet, until Iran is completely taken down. They cannot say, "Yeah, we backstabbed you, Iran. We let them use our land, our property, to come through and to bring in everything that's taking you down right now." That Mossad is using to take down, from within, not from without, but from within. Assad is taking down Iran from within. IDF is taking down, and the U.S. is taking it down from outside. But what Mossad has been doing is they've shipped in all these stuff through Azerbaijan. And, I'm not saying other places, there are other places, but mostly through Azerbaijan. That cannot be said yet. That's why you don't see it in the news. They bombed Azerbaijan not long ago. Iran did last week, I think. They actually attacked Azerbaijan and other countries that have been their allies. But yeah, Azerbaijan's been being used, and the reason it has been missing in the news yet is because of that. They have to make sure they have total control of Iran because they're right next to them, and they're supposed to be their friends, and they have not been their friends. Not deceptively. Everybody knew that Israel and Azerbaijan were friends. Everybody knew that, including Iran. But they did not know the details of what Azerbaijan was being used. So, number one, the Azerbaijan word that we gave was the trigger point that we said Iran will go down through Azerbaijan. And it actually happened. The helicopter went down in East Azerbaijan, which is in Iran, on the border of Iran. It's right there. They were flying through there, and I don't know what happened. The helicopter went bad. None of the other ones did, but theirs did. What they have in there? Oh, just so happened the president of the Iran regime and a lot of his staff down just like that. He was the one that was going to take their place. He had already proven himself to be a bad dude, a really, really bad dude. And so he was already proven. That's why they went for him. Now, they can't admit that they did that yet because Azerbaijan was used as the strategic place where they worked out all the details of how they're going to take down that helicopter. Because it was a U.S. helicopter. Think Israel didn't know about U.S. helicopters and every little detail of those old helicopters, how to make them go bad. Come on, man. Intelligence agencies know everything about everything. They know how to do one little thing that makes the helicopter go, whoops, it went to the right too fast. Boom, dead. But they cannot admit it, which they haven't, and they will not admit it until Azerbaijan is safe from Iran. Okay, that's why. But the trigger point already happened, and it was in Azerbaijan, right? Yeah. So that's real clear to me. So putting all these puzzles together is a lot of fun. But so I mean, I work a lot. I work a lot on putting these puzzles together. So everyday human beings who are not into this like I am can understand it. So hopefully, I'm doing well at doing that. We kind of understand what's going on. You have to rehearse it. That's why I repeat myself, off and on, repeat the same thing in different ways, so that people can kind of get an idea on what's going on. So there you go. All right. All right. We are on tonight. You know what? And I can answer questions tonight. Thank you, Anya, for your comments about that. Really, really good. Anybody else got anything they want to say? Raise their hand or whatever. If you have your hand raised, you can talk. We can talk on the show. I'm ready to stay on. However long y'all want to stay on. I love doing this stuff. This is one of my favorite things to do in life. So let's talk about it. If you want to ask questions, I will try to answer them. And until then, we can play a song or two. What else say about that? Okay, let's do this song here. All right, let's do a song and then we will give you guys time to come up with some questions. If you have anything. All right, let's do the butterfly song. I really like that one. Here we go. I'll be right back.
Crawling slow upon the earth, bound to dirt with all my hurt, yearning for a second birth, a new beginning starts to stir. In order to fly, part of me had to die. My outer death opened what was left inside. The natural gave new wings to fly. The supernatural lifts me high. From shadow into light, from weakness into flight. Every change that sets us free shows what we were meant to be. Something stirring deep within, breaking free from what has been. What is this new life I feel? Heaven's touch begins to heal, breaking through my sheltered space. Change is dawning with such grace. In my struggle to break free, new strength flows abundantly. Empty vessels filled with water, standing still while dreams still falter. Need a touch of something higher to ignite divine desire. From shadow into light, from weakness into flight. Every change that sets us free shows what we were meant to be. Faith transforms what follows after. Simple substance turned to treasure, like the water into wine. Ordinary turns divine. In the waiting, in the changing, something greater is arranging every moment, every stage, writing wonder on each page. From caterpillar to butterfly, from water into sacred wine. Every change that sets us free shows what we were meant to be.
All right, we're back. All right. Checking the news to see what's going on there. A little accident in LaGuardia. I don't know if y'all knew about that or not. Checking the news, see if anything new has come up. Uh, right now, Iran is working on regime change. They literally are working with the to be transition person, Pahlavi, Reza Pahlavi, in the transition period. That's where this thing is at. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but they're actually in the regime change phase. They're actually doing it. They're taking over certain cities in Iran. They're working on it. They're just taking it over. They're moving forward. And the Iranian people are rising up and taking over Iran, literally, physically, with the help of Reza Pahlavi. Reza Pahlavi. Yeah, I have a hard time saying that name, but yeah. So they've entered into the regime change process already. As far as some of the, they're doing it. They're doing it city by city, right? Little cities, big cities, little cities, and working in the bigger cities, and then eventually into Tehran. So they have a great strategy going on. This is not just something they're sitting around doing nothing. They are actually getting ready to take over. They already actually are taking over with a new regime, a secular regime. Uh, where it's not Muslim Sharia law. Okay, so if you guys got any questions tonight, we can answer that. If not, we will call it a night tonight. So let me know what you think, what's going on. If you have something to share or say, if If you do, we'll keep going on. It's 9:22 right now. We've been on for like an hour, almost an hour and a half. So if you want to ask a question like what's up next, or you know, I did you know that the regime change is already in phase, is already in action? Did anybody know that? That's kind of a new thing happened, I think, as of the last few days. Actually, a lot today, but the last few days, that is actually happening right now. Most of the news is not going to talk about that, so you're probably not going to hear any of that from them. But I'm telling you, it is actually happening. I have the activity going on right now as we speak about it. So yeah, very very cool. Uh, you know, are is Trump and them winning? Yes, big time. It doesn't mean that it's anywhere near over. As far as it's not a long drawn out thing. Uh, now that they're getting the Iranian people to take over these cities, that's the process. That's the biggest process that needed to be done, and they had to do a lot of work of taking out a lot of people. And now they have drones. Now Israel has drones that fly around cities, and when the regime tries to go in and start shooting people, the drones take them out. Isn't that cool? The drones take them out. Yes, behind the scenes. It's not just real behind the scenes, but it for the most part, this I've talked about Iran being taken out as far as literally it was in the process of being taken over, and you never hear anything on the news. So most of the time I told people on PGN, they're going like, "What?" So yeah, it's being done already, and then the news finally, when it gets really when Trump decides to go in and take over and bring the Navy, that's when they would start reporting it. But a lot went on before that, so that's kind of what I'm talking about now. It's not really behind the scenes, but it is behind the scenes in a way, but it's out into the open, and Iran knows what's going on, but the news is not talking about it, right? But it is happening as I speak right now. They're taking over cities, and I'll probably name the cities maybe tomorrow or the next day or something. But you guys don't know anything about Iran, just like I don't really, right? And the reason it makes a difference for us is because of their strategy of taking over the globe. Uh, and either after Trump's in, the scary part about all this has been is that if Trump's not in office, Trump's the kind of guy that goes in and just does it. The next guy, he may say, "Hey, well, it ain't really going to happen. They're not really going to take over the world," and then they will. That's because that's their whole plan. So because Trump is going in there and doing it early, even though they really don't have a nuclear bomb ready to go off, they're kind of acting like they think it does, but they're doing that because people in the world don't understand that in 3 years, 4 years, when Trump's not around, they'll get it, they'll have it, which is kind of the timing on it. They will have it, and then who's going to be there to take them out, stop them? Nobody. Israel will be by themselves. The United States will be like, oh well, that's the way it goes. But Trump is doing it now because he may not be in when they have it ready, literally have it ready to use physically and to take over the globe. I don't know if this sounds crazy to y'all or not. I don't know what it sounds like to you, but I've known about this for a while. I've talked about it here on the show. I didn't get much response on it because people don't really know what to think about it. It's hard to process this information. So I've been giving it to you for quite a while now. So hopefully it'll help you. You will not be ignorant when you find out what really has been going on. You will not be ignorant. That is for sure. You'll be going like, "Oh, Chandler really did hear from God about some of that stuff." And then, once you hear from God about it, you tap into the news of the people who are on the ground, and then you know how to search, you know how to look. But if you don't have a clue what's going on, I do it by the word of the Lord. I do research by the word of the Lord, believe that or not. And that's how I find a lot of stuff that's just kind of out there. And then, sure enough, it comes out into the open. It's not just some conspiracy, it actually happens. Everything I said has been happening. Just about verbatim, verbatim, just about verbatim, so far. It's been really, really, right down the line. Yeah, it's happening kind of behind the scenes. It's just that the news, I can understand the news, the worldly news. They don't want to talk about something that they don't know for sure is going to happen. or that is that big. It has to be really be big before the global news takes it on and starts talking about it. They may know about it, but they're not going to tell you about it because they think Iran's going to win. And right now, there's no way Iran's going to win. They cannot. They may throw a fit, kill some people. Yeah, that for sure. But it's already basically over. I mean, it's not finished, but it's over. Yes, the media nights are not talking about it. No, they're not. They know about it. They know very much of the possibility of uh, this new guy, this Iranian guy whose father was a Shah many years ago. They know about him. They all know about it, and they all know this is going on. But they're not going to mention it because it makes because they're on Iran's side. Like CNN is definitely on Iran's side. Uh, so they're not going to mention it because it makes it look like Iran's losing. If they're trying to say Iran is winning when Iran is really losing, because losing means the people are taking over. The biggest sign of Iran losing is that the people are taking over, and this why this is the biggest sign we have is that the Iranian people are actually taking over. The U.S. can't do it for them legally. Our Israel can't do it for them legally, if you will. Nobody can do it for them except Iran, and that's why they have positioned themselves to protect the people so that they can go in and get what they want. And that's what's happening. And they've been doing it for a long, long time. Some of the stories I hear out of Mossad, I mean, I do not know anybody from Mossad. I do not have a personal contact with Mossad, but I know how to get their information, you know, and as far as what they do, you have to know how to search for it. It's just a whole thing. But the strategies they've used have been mind-boggling, and eventually Mossad's going to be against us. So I'm not saying Mossad is going to be always wonderful. Mossad is Rothschild. In case you haven't heard me talk about that, Victor Rothschild was Nathaniel Rothschild's grandfather. His father's father was the head. In 1949, they started Victor Rothschild, and I'm not saying other people are involved. Started Mossad. They were the guys with the main connections and the money, and they put it all together. And that's why Mossad and Rothschild are the same thing. And they've done an excellent, excellent job, amazing, miraculous job of protecting Israel. But then when the Rothschild comes in and they reject him for saying he's God or however he says it, that's when all hell's going to break loose. I mean, all hell is going to break loose when that happens. And that's up around the corner, y'all. I know it sounds crazy, but it's up around the corner. You're going to soon find out that Chandler has been hearing from Jesus, and Jesus is talking about the future, and he's telling me, and I'm trying to tell you. So we are very, very blessed around here. And if you kept up at all, you know that everything I'm telling you, I've been trying to tell you for a long time. If you haven't been able to listen, I can tell you the exact dates of the shows and where it's at on the time of each show where we say these things over and over and over again. So it's not something that I've mentioned once or twice. I've mentioned it 50 to 60, maybe 100 times in the last year, year and a half. Literally. I found 8 shows, about 8 shows, which I mentioned it 2 to 3 times in some shows. So I've mentioned it many, many times. Maybe you weren't around then at that time, so it's okay, no problem. But if you want to find out how to get those shows and listen to them, I can give you the way to do it, the dates, the time exactly of the show where you can listen to it, or you can just they're 3 or 4 hours long. So yeah, but I have it down to the second we can go in and start listening to it. You can see exactly where we said it. And you can tell I know what I was talking about. I was just hearing from the Lord, like, okay, and I perfected it as we went along. From April 2024 to July, I had it very perfected, calling it Mossad, calling it the takedown of Iran, the whole thing, describing why and how. And this is 2024, not 2025, 2024, May and June and July. And I'll probably find plenty in August and September and October, November, December, January. all the way up until, you know, a few months ago. Now I talk about it even more so because it's actually happening, to the shock of the world. They totally shocked the world when they attacked Iran. Yeah, we had a period of Passover, exactly. And I should have mentioned that earlier. Yeah, we were in Passover. Let's go here. Okay, April the 1st. Uh, 6, yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah, Passover is, yeah, close. Yeah, April the 1st through April the 9th, 2026. So we got, let's go here. Today's the 23rd. So, uh, 8 days, 9 days from now. Yeah, 7, 8. On the 9 days from now, we will have begun on April the 1st, on Wednesday, April the 1st, in the evening. It will begin and go through April the 9th, 2026. Yes, so it's going to be very interesting how this is all coming about in light of that. And then, you know, the temple's going to be built next. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Are y'all ready for all this? I don't know if you're ready for this. But we've been telling you about it and specifics and the red heifer ashes and all that. Yeah, so we're in a period getting really close to it. I don't know the exact date of it, but it's April the 1st, which is coming up in 9 days. Yep. I've explained a lot of things tonight. I didn't plan on explaining all of that, but I think people need to hear it and maybe hear it again. And we'll kind of expand it every time a little bit and add things, take, you know, whatever, to make it very, you'd be very knowledgeable about it from my perspective at least. And I have a pretty good insight on the prophetic part of it and information we've given a year and a half in advance. 33 days. We gave the invasion of the attack on the nuclear sites 33, 34 days before they did it. It's totally shocked everybody. Nobody could believe they actually invaded or blew up their nuclear sites. That was amazing, man. And actually, Israel started it on the 13th of, I think, June, 13th of June, 2025. What's the 13 number? You know, the 13 number. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump for doing it on the 13th. Yeah, they started it on the 13th, and then Trump bomb dropped what I call the earthquake bomb on the 22nd. And they never even had never even got shot at. It just tells you how well Mossad and I'm sure the CIA and you know have done their job, and even under Biden, uh, you know, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care. I'm not into your prejudice, Democrat, Republican stuff. You know, sorry. During Biden's time, you know, Netanyahu and them, they took out a lot of sites that kept Iran from being able to hit them when they went in later under Trump. That happened during Biden. Yeah, it did. I watched the whole thing, and I'm not into who did. Oh, we're not going to mention that because that's a Democrat did that. I mention it all because it's the truth. Yes, we do. We're going to do that no matter what. Sometimes people try to get me to be respecter of persons of Republicans and Democrats. And I'm definitely a Republican. I vote Republican, you know, all my voting life, which hasn't been that long actually. Okay, y'all. Anything else going on? We got Pastor coming up. Thank you, Anya, for that. And we will, of course, be bringing all that in soon and see what all goes on. Hopefully, they'll have this thing finished up and pass over by then, because that's like 8 days. What are we into? 4 weeks now? The war? 4 weeks, something like that. I think we're 4 weeks into the war, but I'm not positive. Yeah, it's entering its fourth week. As of the 22nd, uh, which we were there yesterday. We've been there 4 weeks now. So we're into our fourth week. Conflict, which began late February, I think it's February the 28th, 2026, has been its third week. For the period leading up to this point, reports indicated it was initially planned as a potential 4 week or longer operation. All right, very interesting. CNN is definitely not on our side. They're not telling the truth about a lot of things. 23 days. Okay, thank you, Anya. Psalms 37. What does that say? All right, let's look at this. 37, 10 to 18. What does that say? All right, 10 to 18 says, for yet a little while, and the wicked shall be no more. Indeed, you will look carefully for his place, but it shall be no more. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plots against the just, and gnashes at him with his teeth. The Lord laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, laughs at him. I like that part. Really cool. Yeah, that's really good. 23 days. Actually, what I just said was, uh, yeah, send to the fourth week. All right, y'all. I don't know what else we can talk about. Everybody's going bye bye. Got a few people on. So if you have any thought, let me know that you're on there. Say hello. Say hello, goodbye. Something. If you're on watching tonight, if you would let me know that you're there, it would be great. If not, we're going to call it a night tonight. It's about getting close to it's 9:45, 9:42, and all right. Thank you, Anya. Thanks for your help. Thanks for the fun. There's a lot of fun. We're talking about a lot of things, a lot of important things. Trying to help you guys understand what's really going on instead of what they say is going on, so you'll not be confused. And you can believe it or not. I hope you believe. I hope you pray about it and think about it. All right, Angela Joy says hello. All right, Angela. Angela, I called you Angelo. Angela, Angela. Yeah, I think it's still Angela, right? All right. Thank you for saying hello. Anybody else want to say hello before I get off tonight, or you got any questions you'd like to ask? We try to explain, like I said, everything to you in the light of the prophetic and what's really going on instead of what the world is saying and trying to make it look like the U.S. is just trying to get into another thing. All right, Nicole says, "Hi, Randy. I'm watching and listening." Thank you, Nicole, for that. All right, and Angela Joy says hello. We also had uh, Jayla who checked in earlier. Thank you, Jayla. I forgot to say Jayla earlier. Sorry about that. I saw you and then I just didn't say anything. I don't know why I didn't. Jayla says, "Good evening. Good evening, Rhonda and PGN family. Good evening to you, Jayla." All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, we're able to help you break down what's happening. Um, I know I didn't preach tonight or get a lot of scriptures. I just try to do some very basic explaining. I've done it a little bit explaining, but I added some things to it uh, so people can know, not to listen to all the garbage going out there. Trump's not perfect. Netanyahu's not perfect for sure, but they're doing an awesome, amazing job. I have to say, they're doing a great, great job for what they're dealing with. It's just need to pray for them. We're trying to stop a, a maybe a 2 or 3 year, 4 years global takeover by China, Russia. See, to me, they were trying to fight and make it happen faster before September 2026 happened. Remember me talking about that, where I was kind of freaking out a little bit about why Trump and them didn't get this going earlier. Yeah. Well, when we started warning people about it, it was Biden was in from. I started doing it in 2021, and in 2022, 23, 24, Biden was in. Right. Trump got in 2025, so you can kind of understand. Really, it's pretty quick. They moved on the word of the Lord pretty quick. I'm not saying they listened to her, so I'm just saying that the word of the Lord, we talked about it in 2021, 2022, 2023. So I was upset. Why didn't they put it? Because I think, oh my gosh, he just got in 2025. So actually, it's they have moved on very fast. And I do apologize to Texas and Trump for I wasn't thinking straight. You know, the fact that you guys started doing that in 2025 right off the bat. Now that I realize that, I apologize for my, you know, freaking out a little bit publicly. And so you have done a great job, and you've been doing a really great job. And I'm not saying that just to fluff you because I would tell you where to stuff it if I thought you needed to hear it, stuff it somewhere. I mean, where like stuff it if you left nostrils, type of thing. You know, I'm not a suck up, and believe me, if I thought they were messing up stuff, I'd be telling you about it. And so I'm apologizing because I was not thinking clearly on the timing and how quickly Texas and Trump jumped on all that. Although Texas might could have jumped on it earlier, maybe. I don't know, probably not. But they work well together, doing really good together. They're saving our hides, y'all. I guarantee you, you don't have to like Trump, but what he's doing is saving our hide. I don't know. I wish we could keep him in there or somebody like him. I don't know anybody else that's like him that will be strong and bold. And he's been through hell and back, and he understands all this stuff. So, all right, y'all. I love you guys. Thank you very much for being on, and hopefully you gained a little bit of more understanding if you didn't already know some of that. Trying to help you understand it, the real strategy that Trump is fighting. Yeah, the one that's been hidden. I finally brought it out Thursday. I kind of had a hard time bringing it out because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this. Oh, Jesus, and I did it on Thursday too, telling you about the China uh, takeover. And now that Iran has been knocked out, they are really messed up, man. It has really messed them up. And that's why this is so powerful. That's why this is so powerful because it really messed China and Russia. They're going like, nobody knew that was coming, really. I mean, like, oh my God, boom, 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 boom. Khamenei's gone, Khamenei's gone, all of his people, boom, 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 boom. I mean, oh my God, it was like perfect, perfect job, perfect job. Seriously, from a boy who understands some of it, and what a major operation it is, and how they've handled it has been great so far. Absolutely awesome. All right, good night, everybody. Thank you. Hope I didn't bore you too much. Hope you were able to get some of that, and maybe it'll help you emotionally get through these things and watch what news you listen to because just listen to God first. I listen to it just for the fun of it.